Louise Morgan. This is my channel, Pisces Paperbacks, and this is the beginning of my third weekend reading challenge vlog. This weekend, it's currently like around noon on Friday. I have Friday off, it's Good Friday, and I slept in a little later than I anticipated, as I always do. But this week, I'm going to be trying to read the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. I have this bind up here. This bind up is, including the index at the end, this bind up is 1,136 pages. Excluding the index and the appendix, the book is 1,008 pages. I don't know what the breakdown is between the three different books. I'll figure that out later. But I want to read this all this weekend, at least read the entirety of the first two books, finish those two. I've read the first book before, but it was years and years ago. I don't remember any of it. And I remember getting to the second book, The Two Towers, and being like, Gandalf talks too much. I can't deal with this anymore. So we'll see how it goes. I will keep you updated. I'm very excited. I have had this book for literally so long, and I've never picked it up because I'm intimidated and I'm a little bitch. But it's happening this week. We're gonna get into it. I didn't realize that the Hobbit part I was reading was actually the prologue, so I did skip to the beginning of the actual book, which is on page 21, and it's going much better. It's several hours later, right after 6:30 abouts. I read for a while, I took a break for a while. I am now 200, oh my god, now that I'm saying that, okay, I was gonna say it's kind of embarrassing that I started my book around 12 and it's taken me like 6 hours to read 200 pages, but I really didn't start reading until 1:30-ish, and then I did stop reading around 5, so still not great, but whatever. I am around 200 pages in, which is halfway through the first book. In my copy, book 1, so Fellowship of the Ring, ends on page 398, which means book 2 starts on 402, because there's a couple blank pages in the middle. So 402 to 725. So, you know, I can't do math. I think the first one is right around 400 pages, and the second one is right around 350 pages. And then that leaves the last book, starting on page 331. That was my dog making a noise. And going all the way to 1,008. So, big chunky book. I am actually quite enjoying it. There are definitely parts that I'm like, okay, this paragraph in particular did not need to be here. I'm gonna skip this sentence because it's saying the exact same thing as the last sentence. So that's kind of annoying, but I am really enjoying it. Frodo and his merry gang of hobbits, which consists of Merry, Pippin, and Sam, are on their journey. They've just met Aragorn, aka Strider, aka Aragorn, and they are about to leave Bree. The Black Horsemen are on their tail, and I'm actually like really enjoying it. There's a lot about this book that I don't remember from the last time I read it. I don't know, I'm really liking it. I definitely feel like I want to watch the movies now because I can see how this would translate so well to an epic like movie trilogy, which it was. This also apparently, like, in the foreword it said that this book was technically one book published in 3 volumes. And, like, I get it, but, like, this is a trilogy. It was published in books in 3 different parts, multiple, like, a year apart for each one, and I don't know, maybe that's a little controversial in the Lord of the Rings world, but I'm definitely a fan. I love hobbits. I love, like, cute, like, down-to-earth, jolly little creatures. I'm just a fan of that. What are you doing? She's being weird. Oh, I look rough. Anyway, it's like almost 11. I've been reading so slowly. I keep getting distracted, but I'm on page 270, which is not very close to the end. I took literally so long of a break, and then I kept getting distracted. People were texting me, and I called a few friends. I had just hit my mic, so sorry if that's like a weird noise. But we are in the elven place. Everybody's talking. We're finally getting the full picture. The one thing that I really have a question about is, what does this one ring do? Because it's all like one ring to rule them all, and in the darkness bind them, and it's like only Sauron can use the ring to its full potential and its full power. But like, what does it do? Like, what can it do? What are the powers of the ring? What does it do? What, like, if he has it, yeah, there's like a great evil that's kind of like a shadow falling over the land, and everybody's like kind of like turning like bad or being a little bit uneasy with like the state of the world. But like, what does the ring do? And so I texted my one friend, Brandon, and he's like my nerd friend. My nerd friend. He's the one I talk to about Star Wars and Star Trek and superheroes and comics and stuff. And whenever I have a question, I text him, and I'm like, he usually knows what. But he's never read, he doesn't like to read. He hasn't read Lord of the Rings. He's never watched them. And now I'm like, I don't have anybody else to talk to. So, yeah. I'm maybe they already said it and I like missed that, but that's my only problem, is I don't know what the ring does. I just know it's bad. I did it. Good morning. It is, well, not morning. It is 12:15 on Saturday. I woke up and I had about 100 pages left to read. I just finished them. I finished The Fellowship of the Ring. It was really good. By the end, there was some fatigue. I'll be honest. There's a lot of just like paragraphs that are just talking about like places, and it's just random words thrown in there. And like, I get that it's like establishing a culture and like a world, but it was a bit much. But I finished it. I actually really liked it. I'm very surprised by how much I liked it. I kind of wish I didn't know anything about like what happens at the end and like who different people are, because I think it'd be a little bit more fun to like discover it this way, because I'm reading and like sometimes there are references to, or things will happen and I'll be like, oh, that is foreshadowing for this thing that's going to happen that I remember seeing in like a movie, which I've never seen the movies all the way through, so I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But I kind of wish it was just like a little bit like on its own. But I am glad that I've seen like bits and pieces of the movies, because I do like picturing the actors. For example, Aragorn, is that how you say his name? Yeah. Aragorn is like in my head, he's hot. He's like hot, because he's that guy. I don't know the actor's name, but he's the actor from the movies who's hot, just saying. So like, that's fun. And like having Orlando Bloom, like having all the pictures of the guys in my head, I'm like, ooh, okay. Anyway, I do wonder, how old is Gandalf? Because like, he's at least 80, because it's been 80 years since The Hobbit took place. And like, he's clearly old by then. So like, how old is he? Are wizards like mankind? Or are they like a different race? There's like elves, dwarves, hobbits, wizards. Maybe? So I started reading later than I planned to, which that's always what happens. But I'm about 40 pages in, and already it's so interesting. The group has split up, but it's been following not Frodo and Sam, it's been following Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli. Love them. Merry and Pippin have been captured, and we just went to their perspectives, Pippin's, and it's nice to get their perspectives, because the first book was very much like, it is third person omniscient, so it's not like it can jump into and mention the thoughts of like, what is it called, of every character, but it's like nice to get perspectives like Pippin's, which has been very much a secondary character the whole story. So I really like it. He's a little clever guy, and I actually read all of these pages sitting on the bench in my front yard, and it's so nice out. It's a little breezy, but I'm wearing sweats and a sweatshirt, and I'm probably gonna go back out and keep reading and read until I get to page 500, which is 100 pages in. So I'm gonna do that. I'm having a great time. I am honestly shocked at how much I'm enjoying this. I don't know what I expected, but I'm really liking it, and I really want to watch the movies now, but I don't have time for that. And I said that before already, I don't have time for that. I will eventually, but yeah. So that's what's going on. Tiny update. Obviously I'm behind schedule, but whatever. I've amended my plan, my goal to get to page 700 tonight because then that only gives me 20 pages that I have to read tomorrow, and all I have to do is actually get up early tomorrow and read them, and it should be fine. But what I wanted to say is that I've noticed I don't really have that many like comments or thoughts as I'm reading. I'm like just taking in the story. I think part of it is that it's such a well-known story by this point that I don't really have like these like wow reactions. Although I have noticed I feel like I prefer when people are recounting a battle than when the narrative actually shows the battle, because usually I feel like in like action, like fight scenes, especially with this many characters, I really lose track of who is where and what they're doing. And when there's one character or two characters like telling other characters the story of a battle that wasn't on page, you get kind of the concrete, this is from their perspective and this is where they were in the context of this battle the whole time. So you have like oh my god, like an anchor point, if that makes any sense. So for example, right now Merry and Pippin are recounting the story of the Battle of Isengard with like the Ents to Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. And like I'm quite enjoying it. I think it's interesting because they have their little like quippy comments that they put in every couple of minutes. But previously was the battle, I don't know what the different battles are called. Maybe did it have a name? Helm's Deep, the Battle of Helm's Deep. No fucking clue what was going on there. Like very confused the whole time. But I am liking it. I am almost halfway through, I think. So it is a little strange that we've literally not seen Frodo like at all yet. But I'm assuming that the second half of the book is going to be following Frodo and Sam. Also, the lighting in this clip, peak. Also, I'm wearing a sports bra. Don't look at me. Anyway, here's Elsa. She's really cute. She's being very affectionate today, so we love it. We love to see it. Oh, she's biting me, actually. Wow, I'm a liar. She's not affectionate at all. She hates me. I remember something I wanted to say. I thought that like the Gimli and Legolas banter was a product of the movies that was then turned into like a cute fun gift thing on Tumblr. No, fully in the books. Did not know that. It's very funny. I'm a fan. Gimli and Legolas are both really funny characters, and I do appreciate this type of like old-timey humor. That sounds so pretentious and stupid, but that's what I wanted to say. I think it's very funny. It is also very I would say the undertones, possibly, they're just very close friends. Let's just say that, okay? Good morning. It is Sunday at 8:50, so right before 9. I finished the second book. I finished The Two Towers. Oh my god, that book ends real on a cliffhanger. I can definitely see how these books are just basically one big book, because there's really, between the first and second book, there was no like time to regroup. The second book just starts and you're in the action. There's been no break. Just keep going. But the second book, so much better than the first book, and I think it's because it's the middle, so like there's just stuff happening. It's so action-packed. I'm really excited to read the third book. I really want to finish it today. I don't know if I'll be able to because it is 400 pages and I have not yet successfully read 400 pages in one day this weekend. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, I'm so nervous for Frodo. I love Sam so much. What a sweetheart. And he's just, I knew we couldn't trust Smeagol. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew we couldn't trust him. And now they're with the orcs. They're with the orcs. Oh. Gosh, I do like that there was a wrench thrown into the plans, because as Frodo and Sam were getting closer to Mordor, I was like, how are they going to make this story longer? Because there's a whole other third book, like, and I don't understand what they're going to do to, like, lengthen the story since they're already mostly there. But I do see now how there was a wrench thrown in the plans. Ugh, this is such a big book. I hate picking it up, but I also love picking it up. It's so satisfying. Anyway, I set a timer. I set about an hour and a half break to watch YouTube videos and like stare at a wall. And then I'm going to go back. My eyes are starting to get real tired. just in general, so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. But Return of the King, I'm coming for you today. I'm coming for you. I set a timer for myself so that I'd know how long I wanted to take a break for, and I'm making some tea right now. But honestly, I just want to start the next book. Like, I just want to go with it, get into it. I feel like I'm on a roll, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start reading, and then once my tea is finished boiling, and then I pour it, and then it steeps, and then I add my honey. Once my tea is ready to go, I think I'm going to go outside and read on the bench, because I think it stopped raining. It is right around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I am on page 854, which means I'm about 120 pages into this last book. I am very confused about this page count situation because this is a movie tie-in edition, and I've been marking them off on Goodreads as the individual mass market paperback or the individual movie tie-in paperback editions, because those page counts have been lining up accurately with this. For example, the first book ends on page 398. That book is 398 pages long. The second book is 320 pages, kind of depending on where, like, doing the subtraction, the math. And the mass market paperback, or the movie tie-in paperback individually was 320 pages. So I assumed because the movie tie-in paperback was 404 pages, that the last book was going to be 404 pages. But it seems to be the shortest of them yet. I don't know, because I'm already, like, pretty gosh darn well through. I don't know if you can see. Hold on, let me see. So this last section is, let me try again. This section is the last book, and I'm already halfway through it, and then everything in the back is like indexes and appendices and extra stuff and maps. So that's like a good 100 pages. So I think that might be where the extra page count is coming from, because the text itself does end, like the book itself does end on page 1008. So I'm just very confused. I'm still going to be using that book on, or that edition on Goodreads, because, like, the books are the same length no matter what font size and format they're in, so it doesn't really matter. But it's just a little confusing. Anyway, I am enjoying this so much. I know at the beginning of the vlog, I was like, it's so stupid that it's like one book in 3 parts. But like in actuality, the end of this book is just fully like the rising action, climax, and falling action. Like all of it is like just so much action is happening right now. There's been like 3 battles. It's very stressful. Merry and Pippin have been reunited, which I love. And they haven't yet seen Legolas or Gimli, but they have seen Aragorn, and Aragorn's cool. The battle with like the dead people, I still don't really understand how like that happened. Like, where did the dead people come from? I'm glad Aragorn can like do stuff like that. I do remember that scene in the movie. I also remember being very confused about that scene in the movie, so I don't think that's like a new thing, but I'm liking this so much. This last one's definitely my favorite by far. Again, it's probably because like all of the setup has already happened. Anyway, I'm having a good time. I am getting a little confused about the names of all the kingdoms and the cities, but I'm getting the gist of it, and that's what counts. That's what matters. And now I am breaking to have a nice long Zoom call with my family. Now that I'm getting close to the end, I'm kind of losing steam, because like I can see it in the distance finishing the books. I really don't have that much left. But now that I'm getting close, I'm like, oh, I can definitely finish it today. So like, I don't need to rush. Yeah, I'd still like to finish it today. I kind of need to rush a little bit. But something else I wanted to say is that it's interesting to read this because I love fantasy, but I honestly haven't read that many like popular or older, like more classic fantasy series in my life. I tend to read like one-off fantasies, standalones and stuff like that. But it's really interesting to read this and seeing what other series have, like, what's derivative from this. For example, I was friends with someone when I was younger. She was like the mom of my sister's friend, but like we were friends. It was very weird, but she was really nice, and we were talking about books a lot, and she was like, I don't really like Harry Potter. It's basically just copying Lord of the Rings. Like, there's a Dark Lord, there's a Chosen One. And here's the thing. I get that. I honestly feel like Voldemort's a more compelling villain because he's actually present and you see evidence of his evilness throughout the series, and he's not just like a looming evil. I find that a little bit more impersonal, but it's interesting to see like how other things are derivative, because the other series that I think about a lot is Aragon. I read the first 3 books in the Aragon series, or the Inheritance Cycle, and that's the only other like high epic fantasy I've ever read. So it's interesting to see, like, because that series is heavily inspired by this one, I would say. And something that I really noticed about it is that for both series, for both Lord of the Rings and the Aragon Inheritance Cycle, the first book follows the single, perspective. So Aragon follows Aragon, and Fellowship of the Ring really primarily follows Frodo with very little deviation. But both books, as they've moved into the second book and the third book, and then there was a 4th book in the Inheritance Cycle, but I never read that, added more and more perspectives as the groups and the characters were split up. I actually quite like it in Lord of the Rings, and I hated it so much in the Inheritance Cycle that I was convinced for several years that I just didn't like multiple perspective books. So, it's also interesting to see, I keep saying things are interesting, but that's because they are. The Chosen One trope, because this book does have the Chosen One trope, and yes, Frodo is like the hobbit that's like destined to carry the ring, and he's the Chosen One, but really the Chosen One in this book is Aragorn, like, right? Because he's like the one with the family lineage, and he's the one who can call forth the dead people and like heal those people who have like the shadow over them, and he's like the king who's destined to inherit, and he has like the sword and all that stuff. So it is cool kind of to see this like big grand story where there's the one main character who has like the main goal quest of the series, but he's not like the chosen one. I don't know if that made any sense. That's just what I'm thinking about right now. I take back what I said about preferring when characters recount battles rather than the telling of the battle. I think I just liked when Merry and Pippin were telling Legolas and Gimli about that one battle, because I'm in the last book now and I'm having quite a nice time reading about Sam and Frodo escaping from the orcs. But I will admit I did skim when Legolas was telling Merry and Pippin about what happened with Aragorn before they got to whatever the city is called. Doromir? They all have such stupid names. Gondor? I guess that's what it is. I don't know where I got the D from. I guess that's the name of that was the steward's name. Anyway, that was super boring, but now we're with Frodo and Sam. It's so good. I am on the edge of my seat. It's very stressful. Some parts are like a little convenient, I have to say, but I feel like convenience is pretty standard in the Lord of the Rings series, to be honest. So anyway, I'm so close to the end. I will see you guys soon. I'm so close to the end, and I'm so stressed. I'm on page 924, so I have 80 pages left. I finished Return of the King. I will talk about it more tomorrow. I just wanted to let you know. I'm gonna go now. Good night. Can I help you? Welcome to the end of the reading vlog. So, oh my god, Elsa, you're so cute. You're so cute. Basically, I finished Lord of the Rings at about 9:50 last night. I think it was right around 10 o'clock. As you saw, there was a very emotional reaction, and I really, really liked them. The first of the three is definitely my least favorite, but that makes sense because it has the least action. Again, this book was written as one volume and was just split into parts, so that makes sense. First part was okay. The last part was definitely my favorite, but I thought the second part was more fun, if that makes sense. Overall, I enjoyed it so much. I do have a couple problems. One, the climax happens and then there's about 80 pages left, and it was like it was like if the epilogue of Harry Potter was 100 pages long, and everything that was in there was like all the extra information from Pottermore about like everybody's job for like the next 30 years, and that was all in there. So it was like a little much, but I did love the part about the Shire and Hobbiton and all of that. I love like really whimsical fantasy, so everything about the hobbits like appeals to me like so much. So that was really fun. I also think it was so long-winded and dry, and I know that was like partly due to the time that it was written, since this was written starting in the 1930s and ending in the 1950s, so that period of time, long-winded. Also, Tolkien, he studied the linguistic aspects of early English written tradition, so that also kind of adds in. My questions still stand. What would the ring do if Sauron had it? Like, what are the bad things that would happen? It doesn't really tell you. It's just that he's like all powerful and like evil. Also, I was gonna say, what is Gandalf? What is Sauron? Like, Sauron has zero backstory like whatsoever. He's just, you never even see him. He's just like a looming evil, and that's just not particularly compelling for me. But I was actually just doing some research about the symbol, this one on the cover or on the title page. I couldn't figure out what it was in Elvish. Turns out it's just like the Elvish, it's J.R.R. Tolkien, J.R.R. T.E.R. all initials in that little symbol. Anyway, but I was looking up that and I found the Lord of the Rings subreddit on Reddit, and somebody had recently posted like, hey, I'm a new Lord of the Rings fan, I just watched the movie, I have some questions. And one of the questions was like, what is Gandalf? What is Sauron? And those were actually answered. And so I guess there's like more information in what is the Silmarillion. I'm not gonna read that. That is just far too much for me. Maybe I will eventually someday if I like get more invested. I do have to say, I am very emotionally connected to this, like attached to this now. I literally carried it around my house for like 20 minutes after finishing it because I just didn't know what to do with myself. As I was reading, I was like, oh my god, I want to watch the movies like right now. Of course, I didn't have time for that, but I'm gonna do that this weekend. And then additionally, I was reading it and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to read fan fiction of this. So that's what I'm gonna be doing this week. I'm gonna be reading Lord of the Rings fan fiction because that's what I want to do. And so I definitely feel like the fangirl in my soul kind of like, you're getting into this, you're gonna really like this. So if I get to the point where I'm a little bit more obsessed, I might suck it up and read all the supplementary texts. But I just liked this a lot, and I'm so happy I did it. This was like my first truly successful weekend reading challenge. I read more pages this weekend than I have the last 2 weekends, and that's a fact. So I had such a good time. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've read Lord of the Rings, or if you watched the movie and you like them, or if you want to read them or watch the movies and if you think you'll like them. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again next week. Bye!